Okay, so I'm trying to do a small video, try to explain. It's probably going to be a long one. Try to explain a little bit of a good and efficient strategy for early game of a Graveyard Keeper, and probably what is any way you want to play the game. After it, like the first 2 hours, best way to set you up to anything else that you want to do. So here we're still in the tutorial, there is not really anything else than what we're supposed to do that we can do. The good thing about the tutorial is no matter how fast you are, time doesn't pass for now, so we can just walk around and there is no timer, and the timer doesn't start until you speak to the bishop in front of the church. Now, sort of what I noticed in terms of gameplay for Graveyard Keeper is that the main driving factor for your progress is technology. Some quests to give you access to something that enable you to do things that you couldn't before, or give you access to some text that you don't have access to at a specific point. But the main thing that block you from the start of the game to be able to do anything you want is mostly tech access, which means that the sooner you can have as much tech point, the sooner you can do things that you couldn't before. For example, you can quite easily get access to the technology for alchemy by going to the swamp and talking to the witch. But before you have access to technologies that you need to build the crafting material to make an alchemy table, specifically the glass blowing tool and advanced woodworking, you can't build one. And advanced standworking for some part of it. Which means that one of the most precious resources that you can get is phase point, because you can turn phase point into any tech point. Mostly blue, because that's one of the best way to gain blue point, because blue point sources outside of studying are very sparse. But you can also do it to receive red point, which you receive a lot of red point from doing almost everything in the game. But because the tech that you need, specifically some of the mid and late game tech, require a big amount of red point, between 200 and up to 350, I believe, for the most expensive one. And if you want to unlock everything as fast as possible, you are not going to have the 1,000 of red point needed to, for example, unlock all of the church related tech, and as well unlock all of the tech to craft the component, like advanced steelworking, advanced woodworking, marble, etc. Which means that even for red point, the fastest way to get them is also with phase point, because you can still study tool and different components to get red point. So the main goal for the first 2 weeks of the game, and about the first 2 hours of gameplay, is to try to upgrade the church to the maximum we can before we do our first sermon. Because the more phase point we can get from that first sermon, the more we can kickstart some of our technology, and also kickstart better church in itself. Because, for example, a good way to get more phase point, even with the same church quality, is by having a better prayer. But to make a good prayer, you need phase point, and a lot of them. Like some of the cheapest prayer still cost 5 or up to 8 phase point, which means that if your first time only give you 5 phase point, and you need to spend all of it to craft a better prayers, and you have no other phase point to unlock to craft, to study some item and get some tech point, either blue, red, or green. So here, what I've done is I dug up the 3 trumps that are south of the morgue, and the reason for that because those 3 take a week and a half to grow back, and I will need them to be grown back in a week and a half. The one thing I did is I cleared the bushes and the stone near my home. I unlocked the deck for sawhorses, I built one, and I started to transform some of the log into wheel billets that I will need later. I didn't go in town the first day. The reason for that is we don't want to go in town often. We want to go in town as few times as possible, because every time you have to walk back, even if you have a teleport stone, you still have to do one of the trip on foot, which means that we want to walk in town as few times as possible. And if you walk on the tutorial day, there is nothing else in town except the NPCs that are always here, like the tavern keeper or the blacksmith, quarry, etc. But if you go on Charm Day, Mrs. Charm will also be here. So in one trip we can not even do the end of the tutorial quest, but we can also directly trigger the first part of Mrs. Charm questline, which is what we want, because that first quest gives you a perk that is called Journalist, that makes that some of the dialogue with quest-related item will give you a story, and we'll need a lot of story later down in the game, because those story can be turned into notes and then chapters that you can either use to make prayer or make book, that are quite useful, and you can craft them, so there is an infinite amount of them, but it's way better. The more you can get from quest, the less you would have to craft to do something else. So we first spoke to Mrs. Charm, get the perk. We also asked Wagner about ink and paper. It's not useful now, but when you do that, it allows you to, when talking to the astrologer, to trade with him to buy paper and or sell paper related item. The next step is we talked to Adric about the garden. And I forgot to mention that, but before, when I left home, I went to the garden workbench and inspected it, so the dialogue will be open, and it gives me the garden permission that I can use to use the workbench. Next step is I talk about meat. The only reason for that is later down the line I will need to do that anyway to trigger some quest line with Mrs. Charm, so while I'm doing that, at least I talk to him about it. And last thing is we want to trade to trigger the rest of the quest line, and I directly sell him my burial certificate. I want to buy the teleport stone, but I don't have enough money yet, so I need to do other things in between. Now we also want to collect stone, and the reason for that is we want to build a furnace as soon as we can, and building a furnace takes 14 stone. So stone block give you on average 2, they can give you 1, 2 or 3, but on average 2, so we want to collect 7 of them. We collected 1 into next to our home, that's the second one, and we'll connect 5 other on the way. Next thing is we keep following the tutorial, we repair the sword, and then we'll go and kill the slime. And here, very importantly, I want to unequip my sword. Sometimes, if when you click on the sword it doesn't unequip, just click on something else and then click back on the sword, and then you can unequip it. And why do we want to unequip the sword? Is because we want to sell it to the blacksmith. Because we won't need that sword, and it sells for a lot of money. 3 silver and 55 copper, which is a huge amount of money that we can get for now. And now with that money we are going to obviously buy the teleport stones that I took before, and also buy a few garden related materials, specifically seed, hemp seed from him, and carrot seed. So from him we want 1 bottle of oil and 4 hemp seed. The bottle of oil is going to be for the donkey strike, when he does it, so we don't have to craft it because it requires some advanced material and advanced tech that we won't be able to unlock when he starts his strike. And it's very cheap, so the easiest way to get some oil is to just buy it. I also try to keep account of exactly how many stone I get from stone, because I have 7 on my way that I'm collecting, 1 home, 1 in front of the tavern, and 5 here. But because I can give you 1, 2, or 3, it's not a guarantee that after you have collected 7, you have 14 stone. Sometimes you have to collect 1 more.
Oh yeah.
Next step is I want to buy 10 peat, because I want to put some fertilizer on my first 2 harvests before I'm able to do the fertilizer myself. And peat is extremely cheap. It's 2 copper per piece, at least when you buy, I believe less than 20. And now I'm back here to complete the quest, receive the beer, and also because I want to buy the teleport stone. Teleport stone is very useful because it allows you to teleport from anywhere to your home, to the tavern, to the quarry, and to a lot of different places, which can do a lot of time because time is quite precious. So, and here I went to talk to him for 2 reasons. First one is top dialogue, give you some recipe, and specifically I'm interested in this recipe here, carrot cutlet. And then I also want to buy 18 seed. Why 18 is because I want to plant 5 plots, 1 of them for carrot, which is going to take me 16 carrot seed, and I want to have 2 extra carrot seed because for the first few harvests I'm not going to have a good fertilizer, which means I'm not guaranteed to receive all the seed back. And 2 seed allowed me to generate plant source for carrot plant 2 times. You can also save before and save scum, which will do a little bit anyway, but it really takes a lot of try to get exactly all of your seed back. Which means that I prefer to buy a little bit more, so that I don't have to save scum if possible. And if I do, I don't have to try it again 10 times until I get the exact outcomes that I wanted to. While I'm here, I directly put more gardening pods than the amount I need for now, so it's already done. Said I want 5, 1 of them 4 for carrots. And why we plant the carrots is because we need some food to get us going, to get some energy. And for now, for food, I'm collecting water because the first food we'll craft is bread. So I need some water. And here I have crafted 12 wood billet and 6 flitches, and I unlock the tech for the chopping spot, and I've unlocked the tech for the furnaces from the blacksmiths. So now I have my furnaces that is put down. I will make some firewood, and I will need obviously some iron ore. Now I want to have 6 iron ore, so I'm coming here and I want 6. Generally you will have to collect 2. If you're really lucky you can get 6 out of the first one, but it very rarely happens. You also can, as you can see, we don't have a sword, so you can kill them, but you can see I can just avoid them quite easily. And I got 6 from the second one, which is I mean, anyway, I have enough for what I need. I know I'm out of energy, so I'm going to use the berry I collected and also the 2 energy potions that I receive to make sure that I can keep working on what I want to do. Now here our first focus is going to be to replace the rusty tools that we receive, and the reason for that is the rusty tool obviously take a little bit more energy to do any task, and second thing is because they break very easily. And for that we need more iron, because we need to craft simple iron part, and we need some iron ingot to craft the first tool. Now we use all of the rusty tools until they're broken, so you make the maximum use out of them before we discard them, but we start using them for now. Here in the basement I want one simple iron part. Each of those barrels can give you one flitch, one nail, and one simple iron part. Each of the drop is separate, so one barrel can give you 3 items, one nail, one flitch, and one simple iron part. Not common. Or it can give you nothing. And here, so that was quite unlucky. Generally, I would say 1 is most of the time, like out of 20 times, you are probably going to receive at least 1 more than 80% of the time, but you can get more. If you get more, that's good, because it may allow you to not need to craft 1 more batch of simple iron part, but yeah, I only got 1, and it's the minimum amount I need, which is good. And here I craft some bread with water I got from the well and the flour I found below. And I use the other firewood I crafted, and I put some bread in the oven. And now I need to wait a little bit, first for some of the bread to cook, and secondly mostly for the iron outside to be cooked. Here, next step is I unlock the technology for the wooden anvil. As I said, I had exactly the amount of iron part that I needed. I'm going to sleep a little bit more. Just so the bread is done, I put that into my quick bar as well. And here now with those 4 iron parts, we're going to build a second furnace, so we can put a second block of iron to smelt. And to destroy that. And as you can see, what I'm missing right now is more stone, because I need another 14 stone to craft the second furnaces. I already have 3 stone, so I just need to collect the rest. Now here, as before, you would need about 7 stone block. Sometime more, sometime later. Here I got 2 that only gave me 1. So if I'm lucky and I get some of them that give me 3, it's going to be alright, otherwise I may have to collect 1 or 2 more. So now we have 2 furnaces burning, as they're going to start to cook us a little bit of iron. Our next step is, we obviously, as said, we want to craft some better tools. And our next objective is going to go and collect coal, because I made 4 firewood. I don't want to make any more than 4, because firewood is quite time consuming to make, and coal is just faster to collect and more efficient. And also coal gives you more red point compared to the amount of energy point you have to use to get. So I want to get coal, and while I'm waiting for iron to melt, because I don't want to go and get coal with my pickaxe because it's almost broken, and I need way more coal than what the pickaxe would allow me, so I need to craft 2 pickaxes. Pickaxe 1 obviously to replace the rusty tool that I have, and the second one because I want to have 2 pickaxes so that I don't have to stop what I'm mining and to have to come back home to repair it. So it's going to take us 4 iron ingot, so about 5 minutes of time, so which is about half a day. And while I'm waiting, obviously I'm using that time effectively. I'm collecting all of the iron here that I will need later. Now, exactly depending on how lucky you were on the stone drop, your pickaxe maybe still have some durability or already be broken. Yeah, generally I have enough durability on your pickaxe to collect this one. Here I was just lacking one last hit, but it's not a problem. The main thing we want is iron ore. The stone is not that important right now. Now, well, you could also teleport back home, but because we need some wood, I'm directly taking one of those sunken log out of the ground. No, I'm unlucky that. I also have 11 red point left, because right now I could get a body being delivered by the donkey. And I actually do get one. Here I put the rusty pickaxe because I won't need it for now. I take some bread because I did not have enough energy to do what I want with the body. So just a little bit of bread will be enough. It's not guaranteed that you are going to receive a body from the donkey, but it's possible. So it's calculated that you would have enough red point to unlock soft parts, so we can remove blood and fat from that body at that point. Now obviously we want to remove blood and fat because we want to improve the body, because it starts with 1 red skull and we want to get it to 0 red skull and as many white skull as possible. And also because we need fat later in the game, and the only way to get fat is from body. So we want to process as many bodies as we can, but we are limited by the amount of bodies that the donkey delivers. But part of the tutorial gave us an exhumation permit. It normally wants you to take one of the body. It indicates that it wants you to take this body and throw it into the river, but I don't want to do that. Because first, throwing the body into the river doesn't give you anything except a cutscene and a small tutorial about red and white skull, which I don't need. So what I'm doing is I'm exhuming the body that I buried during the tutorial, where I couldn't remove blood and fat, and I'm burying it again. So I'm removing the blood and fat because I said I want as much blood and fat as I can, and I bury it again because I get another burial certificate. Then I teleport back home, and here I put more iron to smelt, and now I will have. I'm still lacking 1 iron ingot, I believe, to craft what I need. And as well, to go and mine coal, we need a few things. We need 2 technology here, we need this technology and this one, and we need to craft 2 wooden planks. Now, which means that we need to have 30 red point more, and we are currently at 11. Crafting the second pickaxe would give us 5, which would make 16. The 2 planks would get us 20, so we still need 10 other red point. I was quite short on energy at that point, so I'm sleeping a little bit. So we are lacking a little bit of red point, but we can get them for quite cheap in terms of energy and time by clearing the bushes. So I need 4 more energy points. I'm going to collect stone because I have now 2 pickaxe, so I have more than enough pickaxe durability. Oh, that's not what I wanted to collect. That's easier. And here 25 buildings carpenter bench. As you can see, with the exact amount of we have exactly enough simple iron part. This may depend on exactly how many simple iron part you got from the basement. Here I only got 1, but as you can see I don't have to craft an extra pack of them. I will need to craft 1 extra pack because I need exactly 4 to get to coal, and here I have exactly 1 more point. So now I want to go and gather some coal. So I said make sure to have 2 planks, 4 simple iron part, and 10. Not this one I want to drop. 10 wedge. 4 simple iron part, 2 wooden planks, 10 wedge, and 2 pickaxe. 1 in my inventory, and the other one is equipped. I'm going to just eat that mushroom that I got. And so before I leave, I make sure to take a little bit of bread with me. Now we want to start our journey to go and mine coal quite early in the day, because we could get another body delivered, and specifically if you didn't get one on the day before, you are very likely to get one this day. But even here, even though I got one, it's possible that I would get one, and I want to be back before the middle of the night to avoid having the body rot too much. So here I'm collecting berry because I will need way more energy than what the 4 bread are going to give me. And I also collect red flower. Now, the reason why I collect red flower is inside the graveyard you can craft a flower bed, which is a very easy and fast way to get your graveyard quality up, but it's limited in amount. You have only 5 slots to put a flower bed on the right side and 4 slots on the left side that we don't have access to yet. So I want to collect 18 red flowers. There is 18 on my way to the coal, so while I'm walking up here, I just take a little bit of time to collect them. And also because I'm slightly short in terms of energy, I'm also going to collect that honey. The honey is quite long to collect, and in terms of energy, it's not that much of a positive. It only gives you 5 extra energy points compared to the amount of you have to spend to get honey. And here I eat the honey and I make sure that I didn't miss any of the flower from my way, that I have 15. If you miss some, there is more here, 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 here. So there's more than 18 on your way. And no. Cool. So coal take 4 hit, so 4 energy points and about 4 seconds, and give you about 25 coal and 2 red points. And we got another body. So as I said, I'll mine quite a big pile of coal and then teleport back. I probably have until midnight until the corpse really start to go down in quality, and that would really matter. Now, we mostly want to have at least 50 red points, which would make about 650 coals. Now I'm going to use all of the energies that I have available here to collect coal. One of the pickaxe is probably going to break, but that's why I bring a second one with me to make sure I don't have to stop before I reach the amount of coal and red points that I want to have. This is the reason why I make 2 pickaxes even later down in the game. If you, for example, you go to the quarry to collect some iron or some stone, because the only 2 spots where you can repair your tool is in front of your home or next to the blacksmith. That's only 2 whetstones that are easily available in the game. There is none in the quarry, which means that if you are mining in the quarry and suddenly your pickaxe broke, you would have to go back home. You can teleport, but you would have still to walk one of the way to either walk back home and then teleport, or teleport and then walk back up here. So that's why I make 2 pickaxes, because throughout the game I will always have 2 pickaxes in my inventory. It's the only tool that I craft 2. As I said, about 600 coal. We have 622. So I walk here to make sure that I unlock the quarry teleportation place. Which means that next time I won't have to walk back here. I can just directly teleport to the quarry. Now, 6 furnace should be out. So I put a little bit of coal and 12 iron ingot to smelt. And I try to come back here. As I said, at around midnight, it's at 93%. We don't want it to go below 90% because then it would start to have some skull turn green and be counted as red skull. And maybe, as you could see, sometime when you remove fat and blood, it makes a chirurgical mistake, which basically cancel out the improvement that you would make to the corpse from removing blood or fat. But because you remove 2 of them, you generally have enough. It improves the corpse enough to bring it back to a 0 red skull. So, note that it was quite a busy few days. Our next step on the Inquisitor Day or Rest Day is our crops that we planted when we are back will be ready. So we need 2 things. The first thing is that we need about 20 sticks to make 2 compost bin. And we obviously want to harvest our crops, so we have something back from them and have some crop waste to put into the compost bin. Our shovel is also going to break, especially now that I receive 2 body, which means that I use the shovel a little bit more than if I would have only received 1. So I'm directly going to craft a new shovel to avoid having it break down while I'm harvesting something that I don't want to have to walk back here. I'm a little bit short of energy, so I forgot something quite important. You want to put 100 coal into your oven. So here, now I make sure that both of my furnaces, you want to have your furnaces be smelting something as often as possible. Especially during the early game, while you only have furnaces 1, which furnace 1 only melt 1 ingot every 2.5 minutes, while furnaces 2 melt 2 ingot in the same time, and furnaces 3 will make 3. And I have my 20 stick, and you can see the crops are ready. Before I'm going to go and harvest the crop, I want to drop a save. And also start the small cutscene that tell you to go and meet the Inquisitor. We still have time to go and meet the Inquisitor, so we don't have to worry about it right now. So I want to drop a save before I harvest the crops, because for hemp I only bought 4 hemp seed, and I only have 2 extra carrot seed. Which means that here, if I don't get 4 hemp seed back, I quit the game and load back the save. And in terms of carrot, depending on how lucky you are, it's quite rare that I don't get at least 14 seed back, which means that with the 2 extra I have, I can plant them. Here I even got 15, which means that I have still one extra carrot seed. And now I want to unlock the case so that I can build my 2 compost bin. You have about until night to go and meet the Inquisitor. So we still have a little bit of time, so I'm going to go and put the carrot to be cooking before I leave to meet the Inquisitor. We still want to make sure that we go and meet the Inquisitor today, because if we don't, it's going to push some of that quest back 1 week, and that's really something we want to do. Now, while I'm on Witch Hill, I will also want to collect stone and... Oh, it's not what I wanted to harvest. We also want to harvest some stone and some more stick, so I'm harvesting the berry bush here. Didn't want to harvest the mushroom, but did that anyway. And like I said, it's almost dusk and it's still early enough that we can trigger that cutscene. Now here in that cutscene, whatever... Oh, and the donkey come back. So a lot of body in the first week. It's good for us. And so, as in this cutscene, whatever choice you use doesn't matter. Any of the option, it changes a little bit of the dialogue that he has, but it doesn't have any impact on either the quest or whatever happened in the game. It's not the case for every quest line. For example, with the merchant, there is one dialogue that if you don't choose that specific dialogue, the quest is going to take a different path. And that different path, one of the 2 paths is far easier to complete than the other one. And here, so same as before, donkey just delivered us body, but I want to make the maximum out of my time while I'm up here. So I want to collect some stone, because we already have 2 furnaces, but 2 is not enough. We want to have 4 furnaces that are melting iron before the end of the week, before the next Sunday. So I need more stone because I will need twice 2 times 14, so 28 stone, and obviously a few other things. Now we don't have the room currently in our workyard to put 2 more furnaces, so before we can put the furnaces number 3 and 4, we'll need to expand the space, which costs 10 complex iron part, which is about 12 iron ingot, plus 4 to make the anvil, the metal anvil, which costs 4 iron. As I said, for the donkey, we still have time to teleport back home, and we just barely had enough energy to collect the stone on the hill, so we need to also go back home because we want to correct the carrots that I put in the oven. And I directly put the carrots into my quick action bar, dropping all of that. I already have 32. We need a little bit more because outside of building 2 furnaces, we also need 80 stone, or specifically we need at minimum 10 stone inside the graveyard to improve it. So we need at least 36 stone and ideally more. And because anyway we are mostly waiting for 80 iron ingot to have been melted. So it's most of the early game is about iron, because that's one of the resources, because only things that can melt iron is furnaces that take quite a lot of space, are quite big, so you have a limited amount that you can build in the space you have, and they take a lot of time to melt iron. So now we want to unlock this so we can make complex iron part and receive the metal anvil, because we cannot craft complex iron part on the wooden anvil that we have until now. So and while we build the new one, we can directly also destroy the old one. It's going to give us back one simple iron part. And also we want 10, so we need more simple iron part to build those, and 2 times 4 simple iron part to build the other furnaces. And obviously we don't have enough iron ingot. It's going to stop at some point because we don't have the material required to craft what we want, as you can see. Now, while we wait, we are going to craft one wood repair kit. It's something we'll need on the next Sunday to repair some of our graveyard. We also need 8 planks to expand the graveyard, the workyard, and we need 8 flitches to build the 2 furnaces. So we actually even need one more batch of flitches from the source. It also requires 4 nails, which we exactly have. You may need to craft some nails, depending on how many you got into the basement. But normally that should be enough. And now, because it's mostly waiting for the iron to melt, we don't really have anything else to prepare. So I'm just going to go around and harvest more stone. I have enough stone for what I need for my next part, but because in the future I'm even going to need more and more stone, but I don't have anything else that I can really do right now, I take that time to harvest the stone. There is a lot of stone between here where I'm harvesting them, up north where I also harvested the berry bush before, and here on that side. Which means that we won't have to go and mine some stone from any of the infinite sources before a long time. Even though we're going to use quite a lot of stone in the next hour or so. And so while I'm here, I'm going to harvest. There is 2 sunken log, like this one. Those one are the best early game if you want to have some log, because they take 4 shovel action to be dug, and they give you 2 logs. Whereas if you cut a tree, it only gives you 1 log, and you also have to dig the trunk if you want the tree to grow back. So it takes you twice the amount of action for half the log. Obviously they don't respawn, so once you have you have dug all of them, then you need to start to cut tree to get logs. And so about right now, the crop waste that we put into the compost bin would have been ready. And we need those, that peat, we'll need it both for Sunday to craft the flower bed, and we'll also need to plant back the crop, because I bought enough peat to make 2 harvests, which I've made so far. So now I will need more peat from that I need to craft myself. And that's why we wanted to craft the peat on Inquisitor Day, because if we started now, it wouldn't be ready when we need it. Here I have the sleepy debuff because I use a lot of energy and didn't want to sleep for a long time. But that's not our problem. As long as you don't go above 50 energy, you don't start to lose energy from the sleepy debuff. And now I've made my 10 complex iron part. I can increase the space. I still need 2 more iron ingots to craft the 2 furnaces that we'll put here and here above. I'll take that space here to make the stone cutter that we'll need later. And I even have... Yeah, so that's already crafted. So I still only need 1 extra iron ingot to complete my furnace. And here, check exactly how many iron you have, because depending on how many, you may not have enough to put the same number in the 2 furnaces that we'll build. And we want to try to synchronize all of our furnaces so that when we have to stay near our home to put the furnaces back to work, when they reach 0 and we need to give them more iron to smelt, ideally we want all of them to be finished at the same time. And yeah, I said, I'm mostly waiting for the last iron ingot to be done, and I run out of carrot, so quickly go back home. I'm not going to sleep right now. And the next step is we need 18 nails, 10 flitches and 4 planks. That's because once we'll be done with opening the church, harvesting our crops, our next goal is going to be to go to the swamp, because as you saw, I was almost out of iron ore to smelt, and so I want to have more iron ingot. So I need to go to the swamp, which is the best next place to get something, and I need 4 planks, 10 flitches and 18 nails. I don't have any nails, so I will need 3 more ingot, which will be done by the end of the night. I will have more than enough iron that when I need. But mostly, yeah, I want to make sure that I build the furnaces as soon as I can. And also, as you can notice, I didn't do anything for my graveyard except bury a few bodies. And it's time to go and start to improve the graveyard, because we still need to go and improve it before the next Sunday. And so, as I said, what we needed was some red flour, some stone, some peat, and 4 wooden repair kits. And with that, it's going to be more than enough to improve our graveyard. And then you want to come here at, like I'm here, beginning of the night, because what you want to do is you want to improve your graveyard, put everything down, then go back home and save before the bishop arrives and you start the cutscene. And the reason why you want to save before you go into you start the cutscene and open the church and start all of that is after we will be done with the cutscene, we will go into the church basement and study our first item. And to study an item, we will need face, an item to study obviously, and science point. And for science point, the way you can get them is you consume paper or note into the study table. And you have a chance, normally a good one, but it's not a guarantee that you will get a bronze note from the church basement. So as you can see, I use all of the repair kits that the game gave me at first, plus 4 wood repair kit to repair this one and this cross. 4 wood repair kit give you 4 garden point, 4 graveyard points, sorry. And then I build the follower bed, which give me 2 each, times 5, which make it 10. And now, as you can see, I'm at 7 graveyard point. Yeah, so as I said, quite important, you want to save just before early Sunday. Then we'll just have to go walk to the church, trigger the cutscene, and we'll have a save just before in case we don't get a bronze note inside the basement. Now, very important, before you go see the bishop, make sure you have at least 1 blood, 1 fat, and your flesh, and also directly take any stories that I've gotten and amp. And also take the maggot, because I want to study the 3 body parts, the blood, the fat, and the meat. And I want to store... I'm just waiting for him to arrive because I went a little bit too early, but it's fine. And as I said, I want to take the maggot and the amp because I want to store them into the basement, because the trunk in front of my home is going to be quite full from now on. So the least space I have to use in that, the more space I have to store other things. Now here, when you open the church, you have that cutscene which makes the first sermon. You cannot do a sermon after that cutscene. I mean, you have to do it here. You cannot leave until you do. But very importantly, you cannot upgrade the church, and that sermon is scripted. It's not like a normal sermon that have some people and play as animation. So this one here will only give you 3 face points. We cannot improve the church before because we wouldn't have access to the technology to craft anything in the church before the end of the cutscene. So we cannot make more than 3 face points from that cutscene. And yes, and my next point is I want to break down here, and here you can see the bronze note, which I don't have enough space to take. Even though I got a bronze note, I would still want to destroy those 2 here because I need the space in the future, and I want to make it right now. So here I get 4 science points from that bronze note, and I use my 3 face points to study the 3 body part. Each of them is going to give me 20 blue points and sometimes a story, but I don't really care about the story for now. So I will have 60 blue points, which will be more than enough to unlock the next tech we need. Now I put everything that I don't need anywhere else in here, and so directly use the recipe. It's not a requirement, but it make a little bit of space. I just drop a save because I got a note, and because the next time you sleep after you open the church, if you have the latest DLC, it's going to trigger that cutscene. And I want to get that cutscene out of the way and come back home. The last DLC obviously starts from the moment you open the church, but you can start already. If you really want to progress into that DLC, you could already take some water with you and put it here, and even take some food. Food I wouldn't recommend because you really don't have the garden productivity to waste some food on the refugee camp. You will eat almost all of your food before each next harvest. So I would not recommend put any food. You could put a little bit of water to make so that the happiness start to already raise, but I would recommend mostly ignore the latest DLC for the first 2 weeks because you have other things to do. I said if you want to do something, just put some water in it. It's going to raise the refugee happiness. And here The crop are soon going to be ready, but by about midday. So I want, as I said, 18 nail, 4 planks, and 10 flitches. And I also want to make sure to repair the pickaxe. And this is, I will need a peat and that. And now what I'm also going to do, it seems to me that the cutscene from the last DLC has some impact and start to break the donkey. It's not that big of a problem because the donkey is still going to come, but it can come on the first Sunday after you open the church. It's possible. And so I generally want to drop a save because I want to drop a save before I harvest my crops. And also, while I'm dropping a save, I'm just quitting the game. And quitting the game and loading back the save seems to, in my experience, make so that sometimes the donkey will come today. And we are almost done with sort of the random part of the early game, because once the donkey has done his 2-part strike, then he delivers a body every day. And I said there was some day where he didn't deliver me a body, because it's random before he does his strike, whether or not he's going to deliver something or not. I was probably quite late on putting back the crops, which is why they are not ready right now. So I'm going to get back to sleep again. Because I don't want to do everything I just did right now and wait around. So here I need 4, and technically you can, if you don't get at least 15, which I even got 16 back, which is extremely rare, but as I said, it's possible, which is why we can, it's not necessary to buy the extra seed that I do, but I generally do it because I don't like saves coming 10 times to get exactly the seed I need back. And here I have 10, so you can we can even build another compost hole, but I'm not going to do it here. Very important, you need to save 10 carrots from that harvest, because if the donkey is really nice with you and does the second part of his strike quite quickly from now, you will need to have 10 carrots, and your net harvest is not going, if it come like today, which is not going to come right now, but if you come, for example, for the first part of his strike here, and then for the next part maybe here and here, your harvest wouldn't be ready before that day. So that's why you need to leave some carrots on the side, 10 exactly. Now the donkey didn't come, and I have harvested my crops, and now I'm going to go and get my iron. Now here, also while I'm walking around the swamp gathering iron, I will want to speak to Clotho, the witch that lives in the swamp. And the witch gets out of her home not very early in the morning as most NPC. She comes out around a little bit before midday, but she stays out until close to midnight. Thing is, I wouldn't be able to walk around the maze that is inside the swamp up to the witch before midnight. So what I'm doing is that before I go into the maze, I come here up north, gather the iron nodes that are here. Depending on exactly at which timing you arrive, if you arrive a little bit earlier than what I did, the ways you do it the other way. So you first go into the maze, go to the end of the maze, talk to Clotho, and then go up north. And if you're at the same timing or even later than me, then you first go up north, and then you start to go up down and then into the maze. Now I want to harvest every iron node that is inside the maze, which means that I'm going to go into every dead end to harvest every iron node that there is inside it. While I'm here, I'm also going to collect some of the white hiccup grass that is inside the swamp. I'll want at least 3 of them. 1 for the merchant questline, and 2 of them for alchemy way later in the game. No, I need 3, but there is more than 3 on my way, so it's not like I'm going to harvest every one of the hiccup grabs that I see. Now inside the swamp there is about between 70 and 80 worth of iron. Depend how many they give you, because as I said before, they can give you 4, 5 and 6. So depending on how lucky you are, you may get a little bit more, a little bit less every time. Like for example here, back home I still had exactly 4 iron left that I didn't put to smelt into my furnaces, but generally by that time I would have put every iron I had in my furnace. Like I had 4 extra to, I would say, the average that I normally get from the iron nodes that are north of my home. And here, so I've collected already the 3 hiccup grass that I need, so I'll stop harvesting them, even the ones that are directly in front of my way, like this one. Because here, no, it's not already morning, but Clotter won't be here for a little bit of time. As I said, I will go into every dead end. Like here's this part is a dead end, and here up north it's also a dead end that only has another iron node. And also some mushroom, but probably not worth it to come all the way here to harvest some of those red mushroom. Currently I cannot harvest red mushroom. Later in the game, I would say from the moment that you have the technology to harvest them, would probably, I could unlock it right now, but I don't want to, because the amount of blue point I have and where I'm going to spend is quite calculated. But from time to time you need them to make fertilizer, so I would recommend that if you have the ability, anytime you walk next to a red mushroom, collect it, because it's needed to make the fertilizer, which you would normally use a lot in the game, once you have it available. You can see here, it's already early morning and she's not out. I'm a little bit too early, so just harvest a log. And here she gives you a quest to help her to gain back her memory, and very importantly she gives you access to the tech for alchemy. As well, there is another dialogue because I have access to the garden. It's not required to do it now, but I would have to do it later anyway, so at least do it now. Now here they are all 4 almost finished, so I want to be right next to it to make sure that I put all of them back to be smelting something. And because I have a little bit of time, I'm going to build one more compost bin. 3 is enough for the 5 current we have. We will add 3 more as soon as Donkey come back. He's going to give us 12 carrot seed. And obviously we are going to plant those 12 carrot seed, which is going to make 3 plot. And now I want to put 12, so I need a little bit more fire. I know at this timing you want to put 12 in every one of them. The 2 on the right, specifically one of the right, I will want to destroy later in the game, because while it's useful at first to have a lot, because you I said you need a lot of iron, and iron take a lot of time to be prepared in the furnace. But once you have the technology to announce furnaces 2 and furnaces 3, 1 furnaces 2 is equal to 2 furnaces 1. And so as soon as you would have those 3 transform into furnaces 2 and one of them even turn into furnaces 3, you will produce more than enough iron compared to what you need. So I'm not going to put any coal back into any of those 2, and the first one that is going to be empty of fire, I'm going to recycle. And here now I have put more iron to smelt, and the next thing I want to do is I want to unlock this here and also the circular saw. And the first tech that I unlock allow me to cut those big trees, and also make, when you cut a small tree, it gives you 1 more logs. Now, as I said at the start, our goal is to upgrade the church, and to upgrade the church we need a lot of wood and a lot of iron. So I have my furnaces burning, and because I dig up those trunk on the first stage, just after the end of the tutorial, they are now back. They grow back at about here. It makes them exactly at the timing when I have the tech point and the time to cut all of those trees. And those pack of trees, as most people have generally easily recognized, are some of the best ones to cut yourself. The reason for that is that you can line up a lot of logs and push them vertically. If you try to push log horizontally, you can generally only push 1, maybe 2, plus the one you have in your hand, but vertically you can line a lot of logs. And you have here those 2 bushes that you can use to align them to make sure that they are as many as possible on the same level. Like here you can see after the 2 bushes sort of line them up together. It makes so I can push that big amount of log right next to my home, and then I will just have to load them into the wood stockpile. And outside of harvesting logs, my next step is I want to go in town. And in town there is a few things that I will want to do. I will want to talk to the merchant, which will be in town tomorrow. And I will want to go to the blacksmith to trade a little bit with him, and go to Corey, the stonemaker, to also trade a little bit with him. And the reason for that is when you sell item to an NPC, every night they sell some of those items that you sold to them back. Oh, not that much. So we want to sell a little bit of stone and a little bit of coal to the blacksmith, because when they sell those items back during the night to whatever black hole they sell item to, it diminishes the number of items that they have in their inventory, which makes that when you are going to sell them some of those items, they get for a better price. And also it raises the amount of money that they have. Because basically, and here, good trick, I go to sleep and I exit my hour. And because it's a specific amount of time and a number of time you went to sleep and you get out of your home, it triggers the next cutscene of the latest DLC. Otherwise, you could have also walk back to the village on foot. I'm going to be a little bit too early anyway, because even after the cutscene, it's still not going to be early morning. Now, why do I want to trade with the NPC? I said it's going to make them have more money. And why do I want money? Because by the end of this week, for the next Sunday, I want to upgrade the church the maximum I can before I make a sermon inside it. So not only do I need material to build the candelabra and the other things like confessional and banks that I'm going to craft inside the church, but I also need a lot of money because I want to skip and directly upgrade the church once. There are 3 steps inside the church. Obviously, opening the church, which we already did. Then the next step is upgrading the church a first time, and then upgrading the church a last time into a cathedral. When you upgrade the church the first time and then the second time into a cathedral, it adds more slots where you can put things. When you upgrade it to actually the first time, it opens some slot to build some wood shrine, some shrine, wood or stone shrine next to the pulpit where you do the sermon, and it also opens some slot for some candelabra on the wall. Now here, because I'm a little bit early compared to when Corey is going to come out of his home, I just harvest the stone next by. So I said, when you upgrade the church, it adds more slot to build some more candelabra on the wall. It adds 6 slot, which with candelabra 2 is 12 church point, which is almost 3 face point when you make the sermon. But to upgrade the church, we need about 27 silver worth of money. We need 20 silver and 5 copper to buy the permission, the building permission, which costs 20 silver itself and costs 5 copper to be a citizen so that you can buy it. So him, I want to sell him 4 stone. Now, let me remove all of that. When you sell the first stone, is sell for 21, then for 21 again, and then the 2 next sell for 20. The more you sell of something to an NPC, the less value, the less money it gives you back. And then he has now 29 stone, and tomorrow he's going to sell 2 of those stone, which will bring him to 27, and he will have more money. And in a few days, when I'm going to come back on Monday, he will have sold most of the 4 stones that I gave to him, which means that he will have more total money than what he had now. And same will apply to the blacksmith. But because to the blacksmith I'm going to not only sell coal but some tools, he's going to have about 1 silver something worth some money. I don't want to get stuck on that. So here I want to remove that axe. It's not exactly broken yet, but I still want to sell it because I will craft a better one and it's almost broken anyway. And here, he will sell the extra tool that I sold to him plus some coal every day. He will sell the 1 extra tool, actually the 3 extra tools that I sold him, he will sell during the night. And basically we'll have about 7, even close to, I believe, 8 silver when I come back next time. And while I'm here and it's early morning, I'm just going to check if I can see if the donkey is here. Oh, it's way too early anyway. So I'm quickly going to drop a save and quit the game, get back to the main menu and save back. And load the save back in. Because as I said, every time there is one of those of the DLC cutscene, it seems to break the donkey and not make it come. And right now, since Sunday, he could have come to start the next part of his strike, and he didn't come a single time. So I really want him to come at least today to start his strike, because I already received 4 body, including one that I already sold, 1 burial certificate that I already sold, that I got back by exhuming the body and burying it again. Ideally, I want to have minimum of 6 body by the end of the week, and ideally more. 8
Oh,
would be a perfect ward. And here is one of the next cutscenes that played out. One of the good things about those cutscenes is the time doesn't advance during them, but the timer on, for example, the donkey walking up here, if he's on his way, or the timing on your furnace is actually progressing. Now, same thing as with other questionnaires that I discussed before. I don't really care about the vampire quest line for now. I'm more focused on upgrading my church. So that's it. To upgrade my church, I need a lot of wood. So I want to unlock circular saw, which costs 10 complex iron bar to build, and also cost 200 red point. So it costs 10 complex iron board, 8 planks, and 4 nail. So I have enough nail in stock, and I don't have enough flitches, so I'm going to craft a few more. And here, so I have 200 points. I want to unlock the circular saw. Once you have the circular saw, you can directly make planks out of logs. It gives you less planks per log, but it's way faster and more energy efficient. Which, in my view, is more efficient because the time you need to gather one logs compared to the time it takes you to transform flitches into planks on here. It's more efficient to directly craft planks from logs. So I will need 48 planks. I will actually even need more than that, 56 in total, but because some of it will be sort of in two phases that I'm going to upgrade my church. I'm going to go into the church, upgrade it the first time, and then craft some more material and come back. The reason for that is obviously because I have a limited space inside my inventory, and also because I need to build something into the church before I get the new slot where I'm going to put the second batch of items. So I need to build the church a little bit, then I can upgrade it, then I can craft a few more things that I want to craft inside. Now, to unlock all of the tech that I will also need to upgrade the church, I'm going to need more blue points than the 60 I had. Obviously, I already spent some of it. And here the donkey didn't. Okay, that's really bad luck. So I've loaded again because I really want the donkey to come, and it's because of that cutscene. I know that if the donkey is already on his way, that cutscene is not going to stop him, he's still going to walk. Like, I've been in a case where during that cutscene, the donkey dropped me a body and I received a notification. But I really need to have some body being delivered to me because I need the money from the burial certificate and I need the fat. That's it. It's really unlucky that the donkey hasn't come at least the first time because he could have come on Sunday, he could have come yesterday, and he obviously could come today. So in your case, probably, I mean, it shouldn't be a problem. I really, out of those 3 days, I want him to come at least once. Ideally twice, but that's mostly dreaming. here I have my red point, and I almost have the material again to craft the circular saw. And so I was saying before I realized that the donkey didn't come. Outside of wood, I don't have the blue point to unlock the tech that I need to craft everything I want inside the church. Because the church tech costs not a huge amount, but each of them cost quite a few blue points, and I'm going to unlock a lot of them at the same time. Like normally you would probably not unlock as many as I do in that build order, because normally you would unlock the first few tech, build them, and then later on unlock the next one and build it. But because I want to be as efficient as possible, I'm trying to unlock the best thing that I can currently craft. And to get those blue points, generally I would recommend that if you need blue points, you need to study some body part or some grave decoration, because it's the best point to gain blue point. But right now I don't have any face point, and I won't have any until Sunday, which is when I need to have all of those tech already unlocked. So I actually need the tech before then. The other way you can get blue point is by crafting some of the grave decoration from this one. This one don't give you any blue point, but this one do. And those two can only be crafted at a stonecutter 2, but this one can be crafted at the stonecutter 1. And the tech for the stonecutter 1 is quite cheap. As you can see, I'm limited by my red point a lot. The stonecutter 2 is extremely expensive, so we won't get it for now, but we can get this one and craft some of it. No, I need 15 red point, so I will need 28 complex iron part. Before I craft that, I need some nail. And then I can start to craft all of that. And it's night, and the donkey didn't come. So I'm going to try without the donkey. Hopefully he's going to come tomorrow. I'm going to sleep and quit the game again. Mostly I'm sleeping also because I have the sleepy debuff. I know that all of the cutscenes from the new DLC have come out. If you don't have the latest DLC installed, then the donkey is more reliable when there is not all of those cutscenes. But it's still manageable with it. No. We're crafting that here. Now that I have the circular saw, everything is better to be crafted here than here, so you can even demolish the saw also. Oh no, that's not demolish. And here, so I want to craft that because those one give me both red point and a little some blue points. I want to craft 11. Now it's also good that I'm crafting those one, because those decoration I can even use on my graveyard, because to upgrade the church you also need your graveyard to be at 30 quality, and it's two ways. So I craft the decorations, they give me the blue points that I need, and also will use them to improve my graveyard. See, one of the big disadvantages of those decorations is that each one take one slot over your inventory. So right now my inventory is completely full. added a little bit too much. I lost 2 energy, but it shouldn't be a problem. And right now I'm just preparing the materials that I need to upgrade the church, which is mostly my next goal. I have a few things that I will want to do until Sunday, like I want to go and meet the Inquisitor, and I want to go back in town to sell a lot of things. I'm going to make as much room as I can. What else do I need? And before we go and we meet the Inquisitor, we'll also want to have some firewood with us. Oh, I didn't build another pickaxe. Another accessory. And yeah, I just realized that because the donkey didn't came, I got a little bit distracted. And yesterday my carrots were actually ready, so I should have done that the day before. Normally you would get the donkey that visits you at some point, which when he does, you would also know that you need to have you need to plant the rest. So then you would probably notice that you need to come and harvest your crops. And I only got 3, so I need to save again. It wouldn't be a necessity to keep planting back the hemp, because you can just what I'm searching for, yes, here, that you have enough. Like right now, I have enough hemp for what I want to do. Just gonna drop a few of that to have more space in my inventory for the seed. So in that case, it's not a necessity for me to save scum to make sure that I get 4. Sorry, I'm going to lack 2 seed. No, I said from here I generally stop caring how many carrot seed I start to lose, because I don't want to use all of them. 26. Because from now on I can just go and buy more seed, and it's less of an issue if I don't get exactly the amount of seed back, and if I plant a little bit less. Because I said first the donkey will deliver us 12 seed, which will make 3 more plots. And if you really want to have as much carrot as you can just go and buy a few seed. We'll have a little bit of more money than what we need. I'm not exactly tight on money, because otherwise if you don't get delivered one body, like I'm here and I have very low count of body being delivered to me, you would be screwed in terms of money, because then each of the body you get is 1 silver and 50 copper. So the less body you have been delivered, the less body, the less money you will have at the end of the week when you need it. And so right now I have enough. So I have a list. By the way, if you want to know exactly how many material I need on each step, I've made a cheat sheet where I write exactly how many complex iron bar and simple iron bar I need for each step, because I'm not going to remember everything from the top of my head. So I have that somewhere, and I just look at it to know exactly how many complex iron bar and simple iron bar, etc. do I need. And right now it's going to be really dire if the donkey doesn't come. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to walk back. Do we have space in my inventory? Nope. The beer that you receive from part of the tutorial, you can also, you need to give it to Gary. If you were smart, you could give it at any time when you went to the morgue to manage one of the body, but I tend to forget it. Just take one slot in your inventory, it's not that big of a problem. And you only need to ask him about the astrologer so that it triggers the next, allow you to speak to the astrologer about getting into the basement of the church, and the donkey is coming, which is exactly what I wanted. As I said, the randomness of the donkey is almost gone because there is two steps of his strike. Come a first time and tell you that he's jealous of you because we start to be a landowner, apparently despite the fact that we don't own the church. And the first time he come, tell you he's not happy, he drop your body and drop you a shit. And from that point as well, the bodies that he delivers start to have different organs. Like the one before you open the church always have, is it 2 white skull and 1 red skull, and from now on it can have a different drop. Which means that this one, even though I remove blood and fat, is still in the negative. Which is why it's good that I was a little bit above, because that body is going to decrease the quality of my graveyard. And while I'm walking here, I also put down all of those stone fence, so I don't take any space inside my inventory. And I don't have yet enough space, I need one more body, but I can drop the stone fence. And at this point, I believe I did it already, but make sure to come here and read that before the Inquisitor Day. Because if you didn't come and read that, when you will speak to the Inquisitor the next time, you won't have the dialogue option to ask him about using the second part of the graveyard. And if you don't have that access, then you would need to find 8 graveyard quality points so you can craft more decoration. You can get them some other way, it's not a requirement, but as I said, it's very easy. Oh, I don't have any peat on my inventory. Why did I put that here? That's a good question. So I was saying, make sure to have it checked, otherwise it's going to delay you from having enough graveyard quality and you won't be able to upgrade the church. And I'm just checking everything that I need to have in my inventory. Okay, so I believe that's everything. And before I go, so here's the text that we want to unlock. We want to unlock those 2 to get the confessional and the wooden church, and those 2 above to get candelabra 2. As you can see, I have exactly 10 points left. Normally 5 points is for here, and the 5 other is for the tech here that we will need a little bit later. And also we want to unlock this one. So here inside the church, obviously we want to directly build the candelabra 2. We don't want to build the first one. Obviously the 4 bank and 2 confessional. you want to build those 2 confessional as soon as you can, because there is a small chance that some of them, one of the 2 of them, or even both of them, would give you, someone would come and make a confession, would give you 1 story, which you don't really care because it's our own story, and most importantly, 1 face point. Having 1 more face point by the end of the week would be really great, and having 2 would be even better. So that's going to be Inquisitor days. The Inquisitor take a lot of time to walk up to where I need to walk. So don't worry about going on the Witch Hill immediately. In the meantime, the next step we want to prepare is I want to craft it here. Is we need to prepare a few things that we are going to craft. To sell. So on Monday we're going to go in town and sell a lot of items because we need a lot of money to upgrade the church. And so what we want to sell is we want to sell some stone, which we normally have more than enough in store already. We want to sell some firewood because we can sell the firewood to almost every NPC out there. We want to sell some wood repair kit because those are some of the also very good value compared to the time and the resource it takes to create them. And we want to sell some coal, which is why we did gather so much coal. Now I'm lacking a little bit of stone compared to the amount I want to have to sell. So I'm going to first go on the Witch Hill to speak to the Inquisitor, and when I got back I will go north of the house, west, to gather all of the stone that is up here. And I'm even a little bit too early, as you can see, because the Inquisitor is still on its way walking up to Witch Hill. So the stick, we don't need stick right now, but you will need a big pile of stick later in the game. So as long as I'm here, it's really sad that my shovel broke right now, because I could really use the time instead of waiting for the Inquisitor to walk up here to gather things, but it's my fault, I mistimed it. Oh. I said, you come the first time, you have the first cutscenes, then you need to wait until the next week. So he give you some dialogue and ask you to and did I not take? Oh, I remember. I drop all of the wood instead of taking some of it with me. So that's a really bad play. I'm going to lose a little bit of time with that. So don't make that same mistake as I did. Before you walk up to the hill, just check in your inventory that you have the 20 firewood that you need. We're not going to have the flyer for a little bit of time, but it doesn't matter, because even if you give in directly, if right now I would have some flyer and I would have given to him the flyers, the next part of the quest required to have some Silverstein wine, which is you can buy quite easily, but cost quite a good amount of money to get 10. And to craft them, you need a lot of things that we don't have access to. So it doesn't matter that I don't have the flyer yet, because I need to prepare my winemaking before I do the rest. So I said I want to gather the stone. I have the scroll for the graveyard, which means that now I can use the other side of the graveyard. And so I said, next step will be going down on Moon Day, sell a lot of things, and specifically we also want, in town or specifically next to the lighthouse, we want to buy some fish from the lighthouse keeper. Because to upgrade the church, we need 4 fish, and obviously we could fish to get those fish, but to fish you need to go to the lighthouse, speak to the lighthouse keeper, and give him some mud. And to do that we would need first the tech to gather the mud, and then we would need during the night to gather some flour, and then go to the lighthouse, speak to the lighthouse keeper to get the rod, and then go fishing. And the price that the fish cost compared to the amount of time that you would need just to gather the mud, because we are going to need to speak to the lighthouse keeper anyway. You can see it's the second step of the donkey questline. We just had the sound. There is no visual for that part, certainly for the people that don't play with sound. But the donkey stay, and if we send it back at least by midnight, he's going to come back the next day, because from now on, because I've finished his strike, I will have finished his strike as soon as I go speak to him and give him the thing he asked for. He come every day except on Sunday, which means I know he's going to give me a body on that night. Which means that I know that by the end of the week, I will have a total of 7 body, because I had 5, a 6 one that he had just delivered now, and a 7 one that he's going to deliver the next day. So I want the carrot. What can I drop here? It's not important. That as well. So make sure to take the carrot, to take the oil with you. I can drop the stone and all of that. I'm going to take that with me, and I'm going to repair both of my tools before I go. So I have the carrot, I have 8 wood billet, and I can go. And so he's on strike, and he wants 2 things from you. He wants to not work every day of the week, which he wasn't until now. He wants some oil that I just gave him, that I bought from Dig instead of crafting it, because as I said, when I bought it, it's way faster. And then he wants you to put some carrots. That's why we needed at least 10 carrots during our first harvest. And because I had 2 harvests in between, I directly put 20 carrots, which is going to last me until the same day on next week. Now, this body, I'm going to want to harvest everything out of it and burn it. Now why? So obviously it's a very bad body that I just received. It was a free red skull, which means that putting it into my graveyard would have, even if I was lucky and I got no surgical mistake, it would have been a -1. And here I still got a surgical mistake, so it's -2 anyway. And also because I want some skin. And I want some skin because I will obviously need to start to craft some papers. And to craft paper, you need either pig skin or bat wing. I cannot have bat wing because I sold my sword to the blacksmith on the second day. And so I need skin. And as well, I need some organs because I need some things to study to give me blue points. And now in terms of body, as I said quite long ago, one of the goals is we want to improve the church as much as we can for our first sermon, and part of that is going to be making candles. And to make candles, we'll need to buy some wax, and we will also need some fat. Wax we can buy as much as we have money for. I'm going to drop that here, so I have some space. So bags we can buy as long as we have a little bit of money. and fat we can only get from body. And because I want to have an odd number of fat, because candle craft from 2 fat, 2 wax, and 1 emerald. So I want to have 8 fat by the end of the week. Which is why I'm buying an exhumation permit, which costs 175. I'm extracting the blood and fat. And here, because it improved my graveyard by doing that, I'm going to put it back into the ground, because it's not going to improve the graveyard, but it's going to put it back to 0. Before it was at -2, that's a specific corpse. And so now I have my burial certificate. I have 1 more fat. And when selling the burial certificate, it's going to give me back 1 silver 50. And because the exhumation permit cost me more, I actually lost a little bit of money. But not enough that I should really care about it. And I'm going to need to make some room in my inventory, because I have a lot of things that I don't need to carry with me. That I'm dropping here. I don't need that much stone in my inventory. So what I want in my inventory is, I want even a little bit more coal. Some coal, at least 250, 60 stone, 8 wood repair kit, and as much firewood as I could prepare. If you have some downtime, if you have it at the same point as me and you have some time left, you can craft a little bit more firewood. It's very easy to make, and I'm quickly putting all of that to melt, because it's all of that is ready. And this one I'm going to put a little bit more in it. And it's early days, so now the NPC are going to be out of their home. And just before I go there, because first obviously I have that BF that doesn't really bother me, because I want to make sure I don't forget something. So I'm dropping a save, and it is, oh yes, it is quest. I want to speak to him so it goes away quickly enough. He may not drop me a body because of that. Because now we need to go back. So that's a part of the new DLC, that cutscene. So if you don't have it, you won't have that specific cutscene, and that happen. So now I want to go in town and sell all of my things. So I want to sell all of the burial certificate. I want to sell 60 firewood to him, because the more firewood you sell to the same NPC, the less value it has. If it doesn't bring me a body, it's going to be a little bit close to make as much candle as I want, but... And here to him I also sell 15, and I buy 8 wax. I forgot it, but you can also buy already 4 wax when we are in town during Merchant Day, so that he replenishes stock and the wax you buy costs you a little bit less. To him too, I want to sell as much as I can. Then I'm selling the wood repair kits that I crafted. I would be able to sell exactly 7 to him, so I would have 1 extra. Maybe I can sell more. So you see I'm already at 19 silver. As I said before, I want to have about 27 silver. 23 and 5... 23 silver and 5 copper for everything I need to buy from the box in front of the church, and 375 for the fish. So as you can see, I'm even slightly above. So in case you see that you don't have the correct number of body, you can do it even more exhumation as what I did. Because each time you exhume a body and then bury it or burn it, you can get one fat, and obviously something else, and you can get more than one fat. You can extract blood and skull and skin and whatever, and it costs you 25 copper. But it's quite important because for it to only cost you 25 copper, you need to sell the burial certificate, which means you need to do that before you come in town. Because if I go right now back home and I exhume a body, and I don't sell the burial certificate, I will have lost 175 until I sell the burial certificate. So now I have my wax, I have my fish, and the next step is I still have some materials that I need to craft before Sunday, but I have the whole night and some of the next day. So you can go and check my list of exactly what I want, but I want 8 wood beam and the donkey cane, which is perfect because it means I will have exactly 8 fat. I won't go to the body right now because I have better things to do, and then, as said before, we have a little bit of time until the body starts to rot too much. So I want 24 of that, which means that, and 32 complex. And because that's a lot of metal that I'm crafting right now, and in the few days before I crafted 28 complex iron part. All of that cost a lot of metal, which is why I needed to set those 4 furnaces. And as you will see, like right here, I believe I won't have enough iron to finish everything I put in the queue, but some iron is still smelting. There is some that I haven't harvested that is lying around here. And it should be exactly fine. You normally even have a little bit more iron than what you need. And in terms of food, as you can see, it's getting quite close to consuming every food I have, partially because I didn't plant back the crops as soon as I could. And I do actually have enough iron. And here, as we can see, the crops are ready. I'm going to harvest them, but not plant them back, because now the next time I want to plant them, I want to put some fertilizer with it. Do we have enough room? Yes, perfect. Oh, I don't want to plant it back, I said. And ways obviously because I'm running out of food, so I want to quickly put some carrot to cook. I'm saving 10 carrots. Put that here, that I don't need. That I don't need here. Oh, I need to go take care of the body. And I'm just on time. I hope it's not going to be... It's not a great body, but it should be alright. in case you receive bodies that are really bad, that are going to have 2 or more red skull, you can burn them instead of burying them. So we need to be at 30 graveyard quality to upgrade the church. Church quality we have enough, so that's not a problem. So as you can see, we need exactly 8, and I can add 1 more, so I have 2. I can add 2 more. So I have a little bit of spare, but I'm still missing some of it. And as I said, it's because of the other side of the graveyard, and I don't have the other graveyard scroll, which means so I want to buy the building permission, and I want to buy the rightful citizen paper. I don't care about the rest for now. I just come and check to see if there is any confession. And here when you arrive, you want to be exactly on his timing, because your day is quite short, and you need to come to him, talk to him. He'll tell you that he needs some ball, and he will give you some give you access to the technology. Before you talk to him and he gives you the task for ball, you cannot start to harvest clay from here. So you need to be at the earliest time of the day, because timing for today is extremely tight. And I want 10 clay, and then I want to teleport back home, and I've put I want to make sure to have that in my inventory, this one, because I already have it. There's something else I want. What's that? I don't need right now. Okay, and obviously we want to unlock clay pot. Story, I'm not going to need it right now, and I need some space. You can see the water I just harvested is to make clay, so make sure you harvest that water just before. Timing is not exactly that tight, so if you need to harvest water after you have spoken to the bishop, it shouldn't be an issue, but the timing is... you don't have much time on that day to do everything you need. So here I want to only have 20, and I want to save right now for 2 reasons. The first one is in case I realize later down that I'm missing something like a component that is in a chest that I miscalculated or anything like that. And the second reason why I want to drop a save is because the journalist perks that we unlock make that every dialogue we have with NPC make us get a story. So the story, some dialogue will only give you bronze, some dialogue will only give you silver, some dialogue will give you either bronze or silver, and some other dialogue will even give you some gold quality. But most of the dialogues that will give you a gold quality are not guaranteed. And here is why I'm saving, because for example, if you see, I didn't take something very important, which was the graveyard scroll that I needed. Because I wasn't at 30 quality. Where is that scroll? What's the silver story? What can I drop? Oh, I have 1 space anyway. Yeah, graveyard scroll. So, yes, we want to save because some of the dialogues that are going to happen can give us a gold story. There is 3 of them that can give you a gold story. Ideally, you would want to do that before, because to step by step, that's why I drop a save, because as I said, suddenly you realize that you are missing some component and you don't really have time to go and walk back. And where did I? You know what? That I don't need. And so ideally you would want to open the other side of the graveyard and already have built the flower bed, because the timing of today is quite short, and the less time we have to walk around, because you need to unlock that and then walk back to build something as well. Some of them are blocked. The 2-1 here you can just unlock by cutting the tree and removing the bushes, which either you want to do, but it didn't. But it's enough. I'm at 30. If possible, try to be at 30 before, to avoid having to load the same save twice like I did right now. So I have given him the ball, then he give me the task to reach graveyard, upgrade the church, and bring him some fish. It's good because I have all of that with me. I give him the fish, give me a story. I have the church. He give me a gold story. That's 1 already. I upgrade the graveyard, a second one, so that's what I want. I want to have those 3 dialogues that are going to happen. I want to have at least 2 gold story. You can get 3, which we might, because there is still 1 dialogue left. Now, next step, now that I have those more slots, I want to build thing inside them. And here the next threshold for the church for his dialogue is 50. You can see we are at 49. But we still have our candle to craft, which we have exactly 8 fat, exactly the 8 wax that we bought. Ideally you can even craft those candles before, so you don't lose time on Sunday. And even take that in your inventory. So you already have everything you need. I'm going to drop all of that so it doesn't take space in my inventory. And then I'm going to put a candle. So I have 16 candles, which is going to improve the church a lot. And now it's at 65, so I need to go out. I go and I need to give him the rightful citizen paper, otherwise I cannot make a sermon. So it's important to go out, talk to him, and then I directly talk to him about the cathedral, because my church, in its passive state, without any candle, it's at 49. So right now I have enough to validate the quest. But next week, if I don't craft any candle, it's not going to be enough. And here, for example, the dialogue. Our church is so great compared to what we put inside that the dialogue doesn't correspond, because we didn't buy any select from the merchant. And here, very important, obviously, I want to make the sermon, which is why we are on a tight schedule, because I'm almost at the end of the day, night is going to start, and as soon as the bishop leaves, you cannot make the sermon. And also during the dialogue, I didn't mention it, but the third dialogue, the one inside the church, when you validate the 50 quality church, it is also one of the dialogues that can give you a gold story. So as I said, 3 of the dialogue can give you a gold story, but not all of them are guaranteed to give you a gold story. And here as you can see, we receive 15, 13 from the charge quality because it's at 65, plus a bonus phase at 2 because our successions were guaranteed, and a little bit of money. The money is not that important, but mostly it's 15 phase. So now we are at the end of the second week of the game. We have 15 phase available to do things. We have 3 gold story. As I said, you could manage the rest of what I will do is only 2, and we have a already great church. Even if next week we don't put any candle, it's still at 59. And now the next step is obviously I want to use that phase, but not all of it. Why don't I have one? Oh, I still have one. It doesn't display. So the bronze node that we got the first week gave us 4 science points. We used 3 to study blood, fat, and meat, and now we have 1 to study skin. Because we only have 1 skin, as soon as we are going to destroy that skin to transform it into big skin paper, we won't study it before. Now here I want to transform 2 out of the pig skin into paper and keep 2 with me. So I want to transform some of them into paper because I need a little bit of science point, and I need to have some pig skin because I want to upgrade my furnaces, which take 2 pig skin. So for now I'm going to leave the rest of the phase. I study a little bit, so I have a few blue points. What you want to unlock, the next step is, wrong side, you want to unlock glass, glass blower, and glass blower 2. So I'm just going to go back home and advance smelting. We want to do that. And for that we need 1 complex iron part. And so why did we unlock glass blowing 1 and 2? So there is one sort of thing that is hidden inside glass blower 2, and that's when, if you don't have glass blower 2, if you go to one of the sand pit next to the river, and you is my shovel? Yes, my shovel is good. And if you start to shovel sand, it gives you 5 sand per bar. So at the end of the bar, it normally gives you 5. As soon as you unlock glass blower 2, it gives you 10 instead. And because right now I want to gather at least 160 sand, by unlocking that tech before I come here and I start to gather sand, means that I'm going to take half the time and half the energy and half the shovel durability. If you don't unlock the deck, then you need to dig 32 times out of the hole to get 160 sand. And 160 sand for me is all over that I will need to complete the game in a speedrun. But it should last you for long enough. No, I time so that all of my furnaces are not doing anything, that they are done, that I can upgrade one of them, and that the rest are ready, that I can put anything I want in them. Because right now I have quite a good pile of iron ingot. So I have enough iron ingot for my immediate future, and mostly what I want now is to make glass. Oh, I need to add a little bit of fire. So I'm directly smelting 120 glass that I'm splitting in 2. And what's this one? I'm going to still keep it. I'm going to destroy the other one. So I'm smelting 60 glass and I don't put anything in Sys1 because in Sys1, as soon as glass start to come out, I want to make, what I want is that. And so I want to make as soon as possible 3 conical flasks. So as soon as 6 glass are out of those 2 furnaces, I'm going to craft a conical flask, only 3, and then transform the 3 into advanced flask. And this one, if it still had some, doesn't have any fire, it's because it will be exactly 175. Now, why do I want those advanced conical flask? Because my next step is I want to unlock alchemy, and specifically what I would call alchemy 1. Which alchemy 1 for me is the alchemy workbench, the first one, the hand mixer, and the distillation cube. I cannot make an alchemy mill for now, because to make an alchemy mill I would need that. And Systech here costs 150 red point, which I'm far away from having. The 50 blue and the 70 green are not a problem. The 50 blue I can easily get, but the 150 red are extremely expensive, and I want to unlock that tech before. I want to unlock this one before. I want to unlock this one before. So there are a lot of other techs that I want before I unlock this one. And it's, as I said, red points start to be my bottleneck right now. But for alchemy 1, I only need planks, which I can craft from the circular saw quite easily, complex and simple iron part, nail, and the flasks that I know just start to be able to craft. So as soon as some glass is out, I put it to craft it as soon as possible. I can see my wood that I just had from before start to is running out. So I'm harvesting just a little bit of it. And I want to unlock alchemy 1 because I want to make fertilizer and not use peat as my only fertilizer from now on. And I want to have at least, because what I call alchemy 1 give me access to the first fertilizer, the first quality and speed 1, but not to the second one. For the second one I will need the rest of alchemy, which is the alchemy workbench 2, but to build an alchemy workbench 2 you need steel part, you need jointing, and we'll also need polish brick, which is why I said it's, for me alchemy I do it 2-step, the first one that I'm going to do very soon, and the next one. Oh shit. And so here what I'm going to prepare the materials that I need, but mostly what I will be waiting on is the glass, because the glass is the only thing that I need to wait for that furnace to finish its row. But because I'm running out of carrots, I'm going to harvest this last one, which were nice enough to give me exactly 12. That's really nice. And I had 10, so that's enough. And you can see my workbench start to be really full of all the things I had. I'm just sleeping to remove the debuff. Okay, so for alchemy 1, it crafted the first one, and now I put 2 other one, and once it's done, I want to have the rest of my material for alchemy 1 ready. So 2 of that. So right now I have prepared the materials that I need for alchemy, but I'm still waiting on that. So in the meantime, my next step is I want to clear all of the blockage below the house and around the house, like the one above here. And for that, I need one more of that, one more of that. And a body just dropped, but as I said many times, I have some time. And from now on, I'm going to burn almost everybody that is going to come for the next 20 body. Because every time you burn a body, obviously you still get the burial certificate, but you also get ash, which I'm going to need to craft fertilizer. And also because to advance some of the quests, I need, later in the game you need a lot of blood, which you get anyway, so that's not a problem even if you bury the body. But you also need a lot of skulls, and you need 25 skulls in total for all the quests. And because you don't want to remove a skull from a body that you are going to bury, because it decreases its quality. So I don't want to remove skull and bodies that I'm going to bury. So I'm going to burn the next 24 body, and I'm going to extract the skull. I'm also going to extract meat, because we also need meat for some of the quests. And I'm also going to harvest skin, because I want skin. Did I forget to make? No, I made the billet. Perfect. So I want to harvest blood, I want to harvest fat, I want to harvest bone 3 times, I want to harvest meat, I'm out of energy, I want to harvest skin and skull. The skin is to transform into paper or into pigskin to improve my furnaces. I won't have enough. Oh, see, I don't have something. So that I directly sleep. And here, that's the third one, so now I can put the advanced conical flask, and as soon as those one are ready, I can go and build my alchemy lab. That's it. My main goal for the next few days is making the first step of alchemy, and because I have some spare time, my did I miscount? Oh yes, 20 simple. I completely forgot about. So I want to remove the blockage, and also. But it will probably be after alchemy. I also want to expand the morgue, because currently the morgue can only hold 1 body, and as soon as it's full, the donkey stops delivering corpse to you. So I also want to make a few more. And I'm actually even missing 1 complex item. Oh, because it used it to build some of the VM. I have time. And as I said, I would just want to build a few racks so that I don't have to go every day back home to manage a body. and because I want to receive as many body as possible, so 5 per week. And because I'm going to burn the body anyway, I don't care about using them directly, which means that most of the time I will have all of the body of the week being stacked up. And then at the end of the week, I will come back and work with them, prepare them and burn them all. I still have 5 carrots enough for today, but I need 15 more to last until the end of the week. That should be done. Okay, do we have enough? One more simple, because it used one to craft a complex one. Oh, and also technology, obviously I need to unlock. So, here, and the hand mixer that I put down here. And here where I also built that, I want to show it here. Next thing you want to do before the end of the week is you want to craft a prayer of prosperity. Now, you could also craft a prayer for faith, which also only take a chapter. So it's the other prayers, the later player prayers that are, for example, this one, the combo prayer, or the few other one, for example, like this one, take a book, which is way harder to make than a chapter because you have to make a chapter then to make a chapter into a book. So those are the 3 prayers that you can make easily early game. Now, why do I make a prayer for prosperity and not a prayer for faith? Because as I said, faith is very important to progress you in the game. It's also because to progress other things that I want to do in the game, I need to have access to things that are locked behind tier 2 and tier 3 of some of the NPC. Specifically, I want to buy op seed and good onion seed from the farmer and from the miller. And to do that, I need to unlock their tier 2 and their tier 3. And if I make a prayer of prosperity, specifically a gold one, which by making a gold chapter, I have then a 30% chance to make, I get, with a gold prayer of prosperity, I get 3 blessing of commerce that I can give to 3 NPC. And if I give 1 to the miller, it's going to upgrade both him to tier 2 and tier 3. And I should put the game on pause. And if I give 1 to the farmer, it's going to also upgrade him both to tier 2 and tier 3 in 2 days. So I want to do that before I really want more faith. And the amount of faith you get from the prayer of faith versus a gold prayer of prosperity or a gold prayer of faith, there is a difference. You would get more faith with this one, but the advantage I get from receiving the blessing for prosperity, for me, is more important than the advantage you would get for 1 or 2 more faith points. And because having a gold prayer of prosperity will increase the faith you get from a sermon 25% plus 1. Compared to the basic prayer that you have, that I could also have sold to the bishop. And so right now I have access to Alchemy 1, and the main thing that I want Alchemy 1 is so that I can make fertilizer. Now that I will have requirement, I can craft all the material needed to craft that, which is really good for me. And also I can start to craft some other thing, like I can craft the spice for the merchant quest, and that's it. That's really my, I would say from here, what you would do next would depend on what you want to do in your game, whether you want to focus more on progressing as a quest. And also from time to time, when you go next by, just check, because it's one free phase, and as soon as you take it, then you have some chance every minute that one of the confessional will have a prayer, new confession. So yeah, 14th phase. From now on, I would say depend on what you want to do. What I generally do is I unlock bookmaking and playwright with all of the blue points that I can get from my phase point. So I want to keep 5 phase points for the Prayer of Prosperity. I also want, of the 14 I have left, I want to take 5 apart to build a Prayer for Prosperity, so I have 9. With 9 I can study Heart, Intestine and Brain, which will give me 150 blue points, which will allow me to unlock that, that, and that. And then before the end of the week, what you want to do is you want to go to Dig, the man in the barrel, which is here, and buy another set of oil. Because if you mix oil plus ash on the alchemy one, it gives you a black paint, which you can transform into ink. And you also just want to buy 3 feathers so you can create some pen and ink so you can write. And then before the next Sunday, you want to unlock that, and by doing so, by adding those tech, what it will make is that it adds 50% chance. So here, for example, if I would use 2 gold note and 1 silver note, I couldn't make a gold chapter. But with the plus 0.5 that I would get from playwright, I would have a 20% chance to do it. And then with the gold note, I have a 30% chance, which means that by saves coming, which I said I don't recommend to do it, but because that part is so efficient in terms of resources, it allows you to have a gold prayer before the first Sunday. Now here I was very lucky, and I even got a note, which means that if I would be willing to use a free golden note, with playwright it would push my chance not from 10%, which is quite low, to 60%, which would be already quite good. Now obviously you can do other things if you don't want to do a upgrade prayer, which I wouldn't recommend. You could do something else with your phase and study some organ to get from blue point. But in my view, that's probably the best next step, is unlock that to make sure that you can craft something good with the note you have. And then if you have more, like if you get a few more, 1 or 2 more points, you can even study something else for some red point to accelerate it. As well, you can get 5 blue point without any phase cost. So here, there is a few of the alchemy components, specifically chaos, life, and death, can be studied 1 time for 1 science point, and they give you 5 blue point. Which means that here I can study that. I have enough paper so that it's not a problem. So I could study that to get 5 blue points. Then once I have studied the brain, I can transform it into life solution at the unmixer. So I can then study that life solution for another 5 points. You could also do it with maggot, but because maggot gives you green point, and I'm not really in need of a green point right now. I have enough to unlock simple fertilizer. Unlocking complex fertilizer will take me 150, but by the time I have the tech, the rest of all the tech I need, which is iron casting, assembly stand, and stone carving, before I can even make the Alchemy Workbench 2, which without the Alchemy Workbench 2, you cannot make the components that you need for Fertilizer 2. So that's it. That was quite a long tutorial, but it should give you an idea of what, from what I found, seems to be the most efficient build order for the first 2, and I said probably 3 weeks if you include all of the indication I gave now about making a good prayer before the end of the week. That's it. Have fun being a graveyard keeper, and see you soon.